I want to welcome a special guest here today. His name is David Steele. He is a California licensed marriage family therapist and founder of the Relationship Coaching Institute, where they train relationship coaches. He's the author of numerous books. His last book is The $1 Million Private Practice: How to Build a Highly Successful Business That Makes a Difference. And his other book, From Therapist to Coach. He has an incredible passion for assisting coaches and therapists to build a high practice for themselves so that they can make the difference that they're called to make here in the world. David, it's a real pleasure having you on. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to be here with us.
Well, thank you, Jared, for having me. I'm excited about sharing what we've learned for coaches and therapists who want to make a difference.
So I know that you started your journey in therapy all the way back in '78. Tell me how you got what was the transition from therapist to coach? What was that ultimately about for you?
Oh, man. Well, I was a marriage and family therapist in San Jose, California, in private practice, in an office, and working, with insurance company referrals and, the usual treadmill for therapists who are trying to make a living. And I specialized in couples. I really wanted to help people have successful marriages and families. That's why I became a marriage and family therapist. I mean, honestly, I chose the license because I had that in the name. That's it. I want to help people have successful marriages and families. That's why I became a marriage and family therapist. However, after 15 years or so of private practice, I was burning out. And mainly because I entered this profession because I felt strongly called to help people have successful marriages and families, because that's what I wanted for myself. And my personal life wasn't going all that great. I've been divorced twice at that point. And my couples, I maybe had a 50% success rate. I felt really terrible about that. I felt like I was an awful therapist. And although I tried hard, I got more training. But then I realized that my therapist, my colleagues were not doing any better than I was in terms of success rate. And so it just seemed to me like there was something very wrong about how we support successful marriages and families and what we can do to help people have successful marriages and families. So while all this was percolating inside me and I was burning out, I kind of stumbled across this new emerging profession of personal and life coaching. And at first I was skeptical as heck. I had the reaction of, what? These unlicensed people are going to help others with their life and get paid for it? Wait, that's what I do, and I have a license. So I felt really threatened and skeptical, and what the heck is this? But I learned about this from somebody who was a friend. So because he was a friend, I was open to learning what this was all about, and I got more information about it. And then I decided to take a weekend training, a weekend workshop. And wow, I mean, what an awakening. It was a totally new world. It's a totally new way of helping people, a totally new vision for how we can make a difference in people's lives. And I just fell in love with it. That was it. That was all over for me.
Yeah. And
so I completed my coach training. And when I transitioned from therapist to coach, I anticipated doing 50-50. I figured I worked very hard for my license. I've been a therapist for a long time. I'm never going to give it up. I'm going to just add coaching to what I do. And Jared, I know it sounds hard to believe, and it might sound like hype, but honestly, when I launched my relationship coaching practice in San Jose, California, I had a full coaching practice within 90 days.
I remember when I read your book, I remember you sharing that. It was just like you had that intent because you invested so much in your therapy practice, but then you saw the hype of it, you saw the results of it, and it was just, you went fully into it. It just kind of took off on itself.
I mean, shoot, full calendar, full practice. Right. I let go of doing therapy and accepting therapy clients and working with insurance referrals. And coaching was so much more fun, so much more profitable, so much more effective that I never look back. I haven't done a therapy session or built an insurance company since 1996.
That's great. That's good. That's good. So, can you tell me a little bit more about what that looked like? Because there's a lot of therapists and there's a lot of counselors. I've coached some of them, and they're in that similar space now where they may have heard of coaching, and they might be in that similar place that you were, where they're like, well, I don't want to just give up. I put all this time and money and energy to get licensing, and now all of a sudden I'm just going to give it up for this thing that it seems like anyone can apparently do. So can you tell me more about, what do you think those blocks are, or those, what's the fear there of people stepping in from their therapy work to more of the coaching model? Because I completely agree with you. All the other therapists that I've talked to who've made this transition, they're in the exact same space. Once they actually saw the effectiveness of coaching, the results that people were getting with it, and then also how much more energizing it is, they never looked back. But to take steps in that direction can be a little bit scary. So can you talk more about what that process was like? I mean, what was ultimately the deciding factor for you that said, I'm just going to let this go and I'm going to fully embrace this new model of coaching and use this to change people's lives?
Yeah, well, I think my story might resonate with a lot of therapists in terms of what's possible. Because here's what happened. When I became a coach, when I sought my coach training and I completed my coach training, and I wanted to add coaching to my therapy practice, I had no idea how. And how do you market to functional people? I knew how to market to people in pain. That was easy. But how do you market to functional people? So I was noodling this. I was problem solving this in my head, and I had an epiphany. And this is probably the biggest, most important epiphany of my life. And it is so simple. It's only 3 words, and you'll probably laugh. But this epiphany that's so important and so big is singles become couples. And that epiphany kind of gave me a whole new direction for how I can help people have successful marriages and families. That singles become couples. I should be doing something with singles. If I want to help people to have successful marriages and families, then singles make their relationship choices. By the time they're married and have a family, it's way too late, and to really change anything significantly. And by the time they see a therapist, they often just want to walk away. They don't really want to make it work. They're just done. They're tired of it. They are in touch with all the incompatibilities and resentments. And I mean, that's why I had a 50% success rate. I mean, the other reason I had a 50% success rate is because my Yellow Page ad, and that shows you how long I've been in this business, because, we relied on the Yellow Pages way back then.
Right.
My Yellow Page ad said couples in crisis. And I was very successful at getting couples in crisis.
Right.
So I had this epiphany, singles become couples. But I had no idea how to help singles. No idea. I knew how to coach people. I knew what coaching skills were. I could pretty much coach anybody and anything. That's what coach training helps you do. But how do you apply that to relationships? At the time, there was no relationship coach training. There was nobody that actually showed me a methodology, a system for how you apply coaching to relationships. So I had to figure that out for myself. And to me, that epiphany meant that I started with my clients. I started marketing and I started working with people when they're single, and then continue them when they are in a couple relationship. So when I started my practice, since I knew nothing about singles, I got every book I could find about, singles, and they were all disgusting. There was about flirting and about, how to get the guy and how to get the girl, and a lot of self-help books for singles were just garbage.
Right.
And that didn't resonate for me. So I had to get creative. Okay, well, what am I going to do? I know nothing. And so here's what I did, and it was probably the smartest business decision I ever made. So listen closely. And right now I call it the platinum rule. The platinum rule of marketing, the platinum rule of building your business. The platinum rule is incredible, and I didn't discover what the platinum rule was until years later. But I accidentally stumbled upon applying the platinum rule. And the platinum rule is very simple. It kind of adds on to the golden rule. The golden rule says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
So don't walk down the street doing anything to anybody else that you wouldn't want them doing to you. I mean, that is what civilizes us as a society. It's a very, very important rule. However, it's not the end all and be all.
Right.
Because the platinum rule is the next evolution. The platinum rule says, do unto others as they want to be done to.
I love that. Yes. Yes.
So if you're going to give somebody a birthday present, give them the present that would make them happy, not what you would want to receive. If you're going to have sex, pleasure your partner in the way that they want to be pleasured rather than what feels good to you, and on and on and on. So the platinum rule of marketing, platinum rule of building your business is to choose your target audience. And in this case, I chose singles in San Jose. And what do they need? What do they want?
Yes.
Not what do I want to do for them? What do I want my business to look like? Although we do need to do something that resonates for us for sure. But what do they need? What do they want? How can I help them? And so I reached out to my men's organization. I reached out to a corollary women's organization, and I invited a group of 12 willing victims, 12 singles, to come to my office. That's as many as I could fit in my office at the time. I invited 12 singles to come to my office for a free group meeting for 4 weeks. And to them, it was more of a support group. For me, it was market research. Because Jared, in those 4 weeks, I learned everything I needed to know about what the singles in my area needed and wanted. And I got lots and lots of ideas about what I could do to help them. What would serve them based on what they said they wanted and needed. And one of the things was there was no safe place or safe way to meet other singles. It was like go to the bars or meet online, and both were scary and didn't feel safe. Right. And so, and they wanted to learn about relationships. And of course, this was my particular demographic. I call these the personal growth groupies, where they want to learn and they want to grow and they want to develop themselves. And this is not the entire population, but this is definitely the people that I was talking to and the people that were more candidates for coaching and people that were more along the lines of who I wanted to serve. Certainly I wanted to make a difference for my entire community, but I knew that the people that I could help best were the people that were interested and wanted this stuff. Right. And so they wanted to learn about relationships. They wanted to find someone that they could have not just a regular, boring relationship with, but to have a fulfilling, extraordinary relationship with. Yes. And so I got the idea of, okay, if I were to provide a safe, fun, educational place for singles to meet, that would be what they want. That's what they say they need. And if I build it, they will come. And then I can use that to be of service to them and meet them and connect with them and network with them, and they can network with each other. And that's where I can get my clients from. So basically it's a marketing event, like doing a workshop or a meetup or things like that. In this case, since I don't know how to play small and I don't know how to do 50%, I decided to go I decided to go all in 100%. And I created a Friday night social.
Mm-hmm.
So every Friday night except holidays, every Friday night, I would host this social that, singles would get together, and I had a format, and we would have, different games and icebreakers. We'd have a seminar. I'd invite local experts, my colleagues basically, to come and give a seminar. And that ended up being brilliant because they ended up referring their clients and people that they knew. Say, hey, there's this great place for singles to go. You should check it out. I went there and I gave a talk. I think it's great. It's so much fun. So it became very, very successful very fast. And that is pretty much how I filled my private practice, my coaching, my brand new coaching practice within 90 days. After I launched that Friday night social, I went from my first meeting being like 12 people to a capacity crowd. The room could only, the first room could only handle 15 people at a time. I ended up needing a larger room pretty quick because it was standing room only, and I ended up finding a room that could hold 60 people. Wow. And we were pretty much 50, 60 people every Friday night. Wow. And I got help. I brought on a partner, and I had volunteers from the people that were regulars. They kept on coming back. So I put them to work as, manning the registration desk and all that kind of stuff. And it was a heck of a lot of fun. And by itself, it was very, very profitable because I charged admission. I charged $10, and then later on I raised the price to $15. And I sold memberships, and we had classes and workshops for those folks. And we had a mini seminar during every meeting so that it was educational. We had icebreakers, and it was games, and it was fun for them. And they got to network and meet each other. And it was safe, and it was what the singles were telling me they wanted and needed. And so by practicing the platinum rule and by truly being humble and saying, this is not about me. It's not about what I want, what I know. I'm an expert. I have all this advice to give. In this case, I was actually at an advantage because I knew nothing. So I had to be humble. But now I see that's actually the better place for us to come from, especially as coaches. It's like, as coaches, we believe our clients are the expert on their life.
Yes.
They are the best judge of what they need and what will work for them. And that is why we don't give advice as coaches. But in coaching, we can't actually say that.
Right.
And we can't say, oh, as a coach, I don't give advice. Or as a coach, I believe my client is the expert. Because when you say that, who's going to hire you? Because people are hiring you because they think what they need is advice.
Right.
No,
right.
What they really need is to access their inner power. So we are empowerment transformation experts. We help our clients accomplish seemingly impossible things, but it's all coming from inside them. It's not coming from any advice or suggestion or recommendation that we make, because anytime we make an advice or a suggestion or recommendation, it's not going to work.
Right.
They come back and say, well, I tried that, but it didn't work because. So It doesn't work. It's not effective. And so that's why coaching is so magical. And that's why, coaching is actually very simple in doing it, but it requires training because it's not easy to do. Mm-hmm. So you have to learn it. You have to learn and practice the skills, but it's so powerful. Yeah. And so here I was leading a Friday night social every week. I had a full staff. I had a full practice. I had newspaper write-ups about me, and it caught the attention of my colleagues, and they wanted me to train them. They wanted me to show them what this relationship coaching thing was all about. Mm. And at first I said, no, I'm having too much fun. I finally have a full practice. I finally am doing the work that I love and enjoy. I'm having a blast. I don't want to train anybody, but you know, I thought about it, and I really felt called. I felt like, well, shoot, if this is the future of the therapy profession, potentially, and this is a way that we can make a much wider, bigger difference in the world of relationships, then I have an obligation, I have a responsibility to spread this around, to teach my colleagues how to do coaching, how to be a relationship coach, how to help singles and couples from a coaching perspective, as opposed to this therapy thing that is so painful and so frustrating and doesn't work half or more of the time. So that was the birth of Relationship Coaching Institute.
I love that. I love the perspective that you take, David, in the sense that you really stepped into this, and it wasn't like you were the expert. It wasn't that you had all the answer. It was just like, okay, there's something really powerful here. There's something that's really working, and I'm just going to follow this. And I think a lot of people, you know, because I've coached a number of different people in a lot of different areas. And one of the things that when I got into this work, I stumbled into it. It wasn't like it was something that came to me. I just stumbled. I started releasing content around a particular problem, things that I was having challenges with. And then I released that content. People resonated with it. And then people just started connecting with me. And it was like just providing the value. And like, that's like once you just provide the value and you show up for people, and you just serve them, and it's not about you being like, look at me, I'm the sage on stage, but like, I have the resources, like I've figured this stuff out and I'm learning these new things, and now I want to contribute value to you guys. And it's that service orientation, and that's really where success lies financially, but also financially, but also for other people. Like it's helping others really come to a space where they're really getting the value that you're bringing to the table. It's allowing the market to respond to what it is that is working or that isn't working. And when I'm looking at your journey, I can see that the therapy model, it was burning you out. It wasn't working to the level that you wanted to help people. And so it was like, well, what is that next thing that does give people the success rate that I want for them? And so it's like you found a model that allows people to experience a lot of value, and because it offers a lot of value, and it naturally flourished because it worked.
Yeah, and thank you for that comment, Jared. It brings to mind the concept of ego versus service. And when we come from ego as helping professionals, we are invested in being the expert and having status and making money and getting recognition. And there's a time when I really wanted my PhD, and I wanted to have those letters after my name, PhD, and I wanted to be called Dr. Steele. And I started my PhD program, and thank goodness I didn't finish it because my twin boys were born. Because now I look back on that and say, that was totally ego-driven. I did not need my PhD to be a therapist. And the whole medical model is what's wrong with the psychotherapy profession. We need to go away from the medical model. If you talk to therapists, they became a therapist to make a difference and to help people, not to become a doctor, not to diagnose and treat mental, emotional, psychological disorders. Therapists are invested and interested in personal growth and success and being happy and fulfilled.
Yes.
You know, but in our training, what happens is we get trained to diagnose and treat mental, emotional, psychological disorders. So no wonder I was burning out as a therapist. And no wonder most therapists are struggling, because the things that would make them money doing therapy aren't necessarily the things they want to do. Right. And the things they want to do, they don't know how to market.
Yes.
You know, so the ego versus service, ego is when you're invested in yourself and what makes you feel good. And service is putting yourself aside and totally focusing on the person that you want to help. 100%. It's not about you at all. Who are they? What do they need? What would work for them? What would resonate for them? What's important to them? What's effective for them? Totally, 100%. And now that I'm aware of this paradigm, now that I've been a coach for so long, it is so easy to see other helping professionals and the level at which they come from ego or do they come from service. Mm-hmm. And I love the ones that come from service. And if you really want to come from service, you'll practice the platinum rule, do unto others as they want to be done to. And if you want to have a highly successful practice helping them, you will do one thing, the one secret. And it's the thing that I stumbled upon that I told you about. Mm-hmm. So that group of 12 singles I had in my office, they allowed me to do market research. And in those 4 weeks, I got to know my target market so well, and what they needed, what they wanted, what would work for them. I had so much clarity about them and about how I could serve them. They guided me. They helped me help them.
Yes.
And that's the platinum rule at its best.
I love that.
So market research is simply asking. How can I help you? What do you need? What do you want? What do you want? What are your challenges? How can I help you?
Yeah.
And so that really is the number one ingredient, the number one key to a highly successful practice is market research. And all the big corporations do it. They would not spend a lot of money on a television commercial or any marketing campaign without testing it first, mm-hmm. and without doing a heck of a lot of market research about their demographic and what would work for them. Well, we can do that too.
That's right.
And so, yeah, and we need to, because that's how we can more effectively be of service, is to find out from the people that we want to help. Well, let's back up, because first we have to be clear about and choose who we want to help. Mm-hmm. And this can be hard for a lot of therapists who are really kind of generalists, and right. they want to help everybody, and they don't want to be pinned down on anything. They want to say, well, I have a variety of tools in my toolbox. Well, yeah, but you can exercise that variety of tools with a particular client population. So who do you feel called to help? And it doesn't have to be the end-all and be-all. It doesn't have to be the only population you help. But for the purpose of designing your business, number one, and marketing your business, number two, and enrolling clients in your business, meaning making sales for your business, number three, the critical ingredient is choosing a target audience. Mm-hmm. When you write an article, you have to write for somebody. When you have a marketing campaign, it has to be directed at somebody. It can't be the whole wide world. Right. You can't, we don't have the money to pay for a got milk billboard, and it might work for selling milk, but it doesn't work for us.
Right.
We have to be very, very targeted, and so we have to choose a niche. We have to choose a particular direction, a particular audience for our marketing for it to be successful, and that's part of the platinum rule.
Yes.
You can't help everybody.
If you try to help everyone. Yeah, you're helping yourself out.
Yeah, so you have to narrow it down to, and in my case, I narrowed it down to singles in Silicon Valley. Typically, they're over 40. Typically, they've been divorced at least once, so they're motivated to, not fail. And typically, they work in high tech because they're in Silicon Valley. And typically, they are somewhat personal growth oriented. They want to do things differently than they've done before. They want to grow. They want to evolve. They want to get to the next level. They realize doing what I've done before is not working. Mm. I need a next level here. And all the other singles that they don't care about what I'm doing, they just want to go online. They want to go on dates. They want to find the next person to be with, whether it's successful or not. The unconscious ones and the ones that just want to do what they've always done, great. Let them do it. Those are not my target audience.
Right.
And so choosing a niche and having a particular target audience is critical to our success, and market research is critical to that.
Absolutely.
Which is practicing the platinum rule.
Absolutely. I loved what you said earlier about just focusing on what it is that the market needs and what it is that people are asking for. I was just teaching in my school. I had my live event here in Boulder 2 weeks ago for my school. And one of the things that I was teaching, I was saying, look at McDonald's. It might not be the best example, but they were the first people who put a playground at a restaurant. And it's like, what was the thinking there? But the thinking behind it was, well, we have these parents who have all these kids who want a breather and a break from their kids. So what did they think? They said, let's put up a playground by the restaurant so the kids can go play and the parents can get some time for themselves. And the best successful businesses always are asking themselves, what is it that our ideal audience and market needs, and how can we serve them better? And the more
who do you ask?
Right.
Jared, who do you ask? You ask the parents.
That's right.
Hey, what can I do to motivate you to come to my restaurant as opposed to my competition? Provide me a playground. Okay, you got a playground.
Yep. Yeah.
And so all you really have to do is ask.
That's right. I love that. Yeah. And that really is, and that's one of the things that I always teach, is that is the key to wealth creation, is just focusing on how you can serve your ideal audience better. And the more that you focus on that, naturally you'll see, that's been my own experience, is the more that you focus on serving that audience, naturally more of that will come your way, because your focus and attention is on them. Sometimes I coach coaches, and they say that, like, well, they're so focused on their competition that they get caught up in the competition alone. And I'm like, look, it's good to have an understanding of your competition, to understand what you can do better to serve your audience, but that's it. Like, focus a majority of how you can offer the highest amount of service to your audience and the people that you're serving, and blast all of your attention that way. And when you do that, the results will naturally just come back to you, because your focus is going there. It's not going to all these other things. If you're worried about your competition 24/7, your time and energy isn't going into the people that you want to serve. So I hope that makes sense how I shared that. But
yeah. And by the way, having competition is that's an illusion. We don't really have competition.
Right. There's more to go around.
There might be a million coaches out there. There might be a million therapists out there, but your potential clients, they only care about you because you're the one that has the connection with them. They don't know about all the other therapists out there. All they know is they're talking to you.
Right.
And they're not really going to say, okay, well, before I sign up with you, let me talk to a few others and I'll compare prices. Well, no. I mean, for people that want and need help with their personal life, and they feel vulnerable, they want to go with somebody they know, like, and trust. And they've connected with you, so you have no competition. But Jared, I want to segue to something that's related and very, very important that I think you're going to like, actually.
Yeah, please.
Which is, we're talking about market research. We're talking about how to be a successful helping professional. And at this point, here at Relationship Coaching Institute, we've been training relationship coaches and therapists who want to become coaches since 1997. And we've had, somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 graduates. I've lost count, honestly. I don't know. But over and over and over again, I've seen this phenomenon, which is, you can show somebody something, you can teach them something, you can explain them something, and it can resonate strongly. Like market research, the platinum rule. Oh, yeah, that's very important. Oh, yeah, I got to do that. And then they actually do it. And I know this was hard for me, too. And then when they get the information back, they don't listen to it.
Right.
Because they're stuck in ego. And it's amazing to me how often a book title or something like that, I was conducting market research to try to generate something that would appeal to my target audience better than something that I could come up with from my head. Because I wanted them to buy the book. It doesn't matter what book title sounds good to me. What matters is, what's going to cause them to want to read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how many times I have asked for feedback about something like a book title, and none of them liked what I came up with.
Mm-hmm.
And I had attachment in my version. Well, wait a minute, I want you to like this because I like it. And it was so hard to shift that and let go of that and let go of attachment and to become not attached to my own ego and what I like and what sounds good to me, but to truly give that up, to be of service and to go with what sounds good to them. That was hard, and I see it happening over and over and over. And
Yes.
this manifests itself in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so for that reason, it is really, really hard for the average new coach
Absolutely.
to actually do this.
Yeah.
And so that is why, I mean, even though they know they should do it, and even when they do it, they have a hard time acting on it because their ego gets in the way, because they don't know how, because they need support.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the reason why Relationship Coaching Institute is a member organization, and we support our members. We provide mentoring and training and hand-holding support, because training is just a beginning. I mean, learning how to do a skill is just a beginning. Then you need to apply that skill. Then you need to sell that skill. You need to make money from that skill. Then you need to, overcome all the challenges and obstacles to making that happen. And a big one is our own ego. And a big one is what we're attached to that ends up not working. And I can't tell you how many times I've laid it out to one of our members. I think for your population and your business and your goals, I think this is something you should try. And then they give lip service to the thing that I suggest. They go ahead and try the things that they tried, and then they come back to me and say, well, that didn't work because. And it is so hard. And so that's why you are needed, Jared, and that's why I'm needed, because every practitioner, they don't know this yet, because we're used to mentoring our clients, right? We're used to being the one in charge. We're used to being the helper. But every practitioner needs their own helper, their own supporter, their own coach, their own mentor, because we get in our way in so many ways. And if you have a choice, would you rather be successful or struggle?
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And the difference between being successful and struggling is getting the support you need. And that is hardest for the helper.
Right.
We want to be hired. We want to be hired for supporting our clients. However, it is the hardest thing in the world for us to hire somebody else to help us.
Right. Yeah. I see that all the time. And I mean, I can even look back at my own life and see where I had to break through that. And I didn't really start seeing the success that I wanted in my business until I was at that space where I was like, okay, you know what? I'm open to support. I realized that I always tell my clients this: human beings were 100% independent, but we're also 100% interdependent as well. And until we honor both fully, that's when we'll be able to be really successful professionally and personally, when you honor both fully. And I didn't see that in my own life. I mean, I can remember one year I went from making about $2,000 a month to closing the year out making over $20,000 a month, just because I finally asked for the support that I needed. And I started investing in myself. I started investing in coaches, mentors, programs. And once I was like feeling that support, then that drove me more to serve the world. And so I'm in total agreement with you. Absolutely, David. I think anytime,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things that I've seen in the healing practitioner field, not so much as coaches, but definitely with therapists and counselors, is there's a closing off of support for them because they want to be that support. And it's like that classic issue where it's like we do for the world what we want to be done for ourselves. So I do see that more in the healing practitioner field, counselors and therapists, not as much as coaches. Usually when I meet with a lot of coaches, they always have a coach or a mentor, or they're usually getting the support that they need because they've experienced the power of it.
Yeah, well, coaches have a big shortcoming as well, and this includes therapists and a lot of helping professionals. And you mentioned it. It's about investing in yourself and investing in your business.
Mm-hmm.
Because way back when, before the internet, when I had a Yellow Page ad, it was necessary. I spent about $1,000 a month, and most of my colleagues spent more on a Yellow Page ad. And today we expect our marketing to be free. We expect to be able to post stuff up on the internet and not pay anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it is true that a lot of very effective marketing avenues can be free. However, you must invest in yourself. You must invest in your business, because this is a business, and businesses run on money.
Right.
If you don't invest money in your business, you're not going to make money. If you expect to make money without investing any money, then you are sorely mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a lot of practitioners hold back from investing in their business because they're afraid of losing money.
Right. Right. They have that.
But I tell you, I have lost money before I discovered coaching. Before I stumbled into that amazing success of being able to fill my coaching practice in 90 days, I have made every marketing mistake in the book. In the late 80s, I spent at that time $8,000 on a direct mail campaign to try to get private pay couples into my practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what to do to build my private practice and get private pay clients. I had plenty of insurance clients. I wanted more private pay clients. And so I found myself a marketing consultant, and this marketing consultant convinced me to do a direct mail campaign because I can reach hundreds of thousands of potential clients for pennies apiece. And all I needed was, a fraction of a % success rate. And it's almost a guaranteed outcome because it always works. Well, this marketing consultant must have not worked with private practice professionals, because looking back on it, couples don't hire a therapist based on a direct mailer they get in the mail.
Right. They wouldn't hire a brain surgeon either that way.
Yeah. However, I spent $8,000 at the time throwing money at the problem of how do I get private pay clients and trusting what somebody else said about it. Right. And that was a huge, expensive mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But, that helped me get where I am today. So we need to invest in our business. We need to take the risk. And if we lose money, that's just part of the learning. It's necessary. And the biggest obstacle that I've seen to building a highly successful business is practitioners that are not willing to invest in themselves and invest money in building their business. They want it to be free. They want it to be low cost. They want it to be risk-free. Well, if you want risk-free, you're setting the bar really low. It's like you're only going to be able to accomplish so much, because getting above that bar requires risk.
Right. Yes, I totally agree. I mean, I've certainly been there too, where I've wasted money in marketing. And I mean, originally how I started off in this work was through content marketing, just releasing content. And I had a lot of success with that because I did something similar to you, is where I just I released content based off of what I was, what people were struggling with, what I was struggling with, built a relationship there, and then learned what that online community needed, and then built a product and a service around that. However, once I started getting more into the paid marketing stuff, direct advertising, I definitely lost some things there with Facebook ads. But that was all experimentation. It brought me to a point where it was recognizing that, I got to be real clear on my copy, the message, the specific to the audience. So I totally agree. And I think if anyone is having trouble around investing in themselves or in their business, it really comes there's something there. There's a breakthrough that needs to happen to them personally. I used to work with some individuals like that. Now I just don't, because I just don't want to deal with that mindset. But usually in my experience, what I've seen, if a person has trouble investing in their business, then they're afraid of failure. There's a fear of failure there, or we were talking about that fear of risk, and that fear of failure is what is keeping them. And then I always usually look at the fear of failure to, okay, well, what are their support systems in place? Do they have supports? Have they ever had support systems in life where they feel safe enough to try risks? Because usually that's why people don't try risks, is they don't have a support system in place to something to fall back onto. So it's really interesting. I'm going a lot deeper with it now, but I think it's incredibly important. I totally agree to invest in your business and be willing to take risks every time that you step up. I mean, risk is a natural inherent part of living, but it also makes life enjoyable, and you're able to help more people. You're able to increase your service to the world. You're able to increase your income. You're able to increase the quality of your life and the quality of more people on this planet. And ultimately, that's really what it's about. That's the vision that drives me every day. I get the sense that is the vision that has driven you, and that it continues to drive you to this day. And so, yeah, that risk is inherent, but it's definitely worth it. Once, at least for me, it's been worth it for me as I get the results and I see the results that the lives that I change from it.
Oh yeah, because being stuck sucks.
It does. It's no fun. It's no fun at all.
And getting unstuck is sometimes painful and hard and scary. But once you do, oh man, the horizons that you can travel to, the fulfillment in your life, it can be far beyond your wildest dreams. And so that is what I want for all of us. I mean, if we're going to devote our lives to making a difference in the world, if we feel a strong calling to do that, I strongly believe we deserve to be successful because the world needs us.
Absolutely.
And so it's a great deal. I'll help you, and in return, I have a successful, fulfilling life. That sounds like a great deal. But right. in the end, it's more like teachers. Teachers who are highly valued but barely make enough to make a living. And so, as therapists and counselors and coaches, it does not have to be like that. But we have to get out of our own way first. We have to be willing to play large. We have to be willing to shift our own thinking and mindset and actions. And we need to figure out how to leverage our expertise to build a highly successful business that makes a difference. And that's what the $1 Million Practice Book is all about. And it does involve taking risk. It does involve putting yourself out there. Because if you want to play small, if you want to hide in your office, if you want to save your money and not, and have a very, very small or non-existent marketing budget, then you will be stuck where you are.
Right.
And I can tell you from burning out, that is no fun. It sucks to be stuck.
That's right. Yes, I totally agree. And I love the fact that you emphasized being stuck with not investing. Like, that's all it is. Like, if you want to expand, it means giving more to the world and showing up more. And I always tell people, like, the world's not going to invest in you, which is what money is, unless you invest in the world. So how are you investing in yourself and your business? Like, how are you playing larger and putting yourself out there more? I love that. That's key. David, this has been a real honor to have you on. Thank you for sharing your time and your energy with me, with everyone who will be watching this later on. I just want to ask one more final question here. If there was one thing that you could leave with everyone here, what would that be?
I'm sorry, what was that question?
If there was one final message that you could leave with the viewers? A lot of the people who are watching, they're coaches or they're healing practitioners. They're in this space. Some of them are certainly at points at where you've been at, where I've been at. What is one message that you would want to leave with them?
Oh, well, thank you. That's a great opportunity to kind of sum it up. because what I would just simply reiterate that if you are here, if you are listening to us, that means that you have a calling. You care about the world. You want to make a difference in the world, and you want to and deserve to make a living, a great living doing it. However, please get the support you need. If you expect your clients to hire you for your support, it's not going to work if you don't also get the support that you need. So please don't hold back. Invest in yourself, invest in your success, get the support you need to be successful. You will not be successful without it. That's just a simple truth. It's from my experience and having trained over 7,500, I don't know, somewhere around there, relationship coaches, and mentoring them in my organization to build successful businesses or not. The ones that didn't are the ones that gave up because they were struggling on their own, and they just found it really, really, really hard to ask for help, and get the support they need. So please, please, please don't do this alone. You want to be hired for your help, get the support that you need as well.
I love that. That's exactly it. That's a great message. Thanks so much for taking the time to be here, David. It really means a lot to me, and it means a lot to everyone else. You're doing great work out there in the world. It's a huge mission that the Relationship Coaching Institute has, but I'm full in alignment, full in agreement with what you guys are doing over there. Empowering people to build a business and build a life where they can generate wealth for themselves and serve the world and show up in a powerful way and make the planet a better place. That's what I'm all about. That's why I do what I do. So I love what you guys are doing over there. Thanks so much for taking the time. If there's anyone who wants to reach out and connect with you, how would they do so?
Just go to relationshipcoachinginstitute.com.
Perfect. Great. Thanks so much, David. You have a wonderful day, and I really appreciate taking the time out to be here. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Jared.